So next up, we have Bastian Fietje from Pluspack. Bastian leads group IT and digitalization, and he has been working closely with us due to his responsibility of leading a broad range of strategy and digitalization projects. Today, he will talk about the Pluspack journey to increase sales productivity of customized packaging solutions while improving the experience for their customers and operational efficiency. So, Bastian, the stage is yours. Thanks for joining.
Thank you so much, Ralph, and also thank you, Thomas, for a nice presentation. And also thank you to the rest of you for offering this opportunity to share some of our early experiences working with CPQ. As you mentioned, Ralph, I'm responsible for group IT and also digitalization at Pluspack. I will just briefly come into what kind of company we are. And we have been working with CPQ roughly around a year, so we're quite new within that field. And hopefully I can link a little bit between what Thomas just explained about some of the benefits of working with CPQ and what we have actually done so far. Let's just jump into it. So our vision as a company is to be the preferred partner of both customized and sustainable packaging solutions. And especially sustainability drives, of course, a lot of momentum at the moment. Everybody knows that it's a big global agenda that we are part of, and customization. That's really why we try to add value to a very competitive market, which packaging is. Just double clicking a little bit on sustainability to begin with. It's part of our core value propositions. So what we try to use as a competitive strength is of course innovation, customization. So we are not the biggest player on the market. We have to compete on other areas, on other factors. So not only competing on cost, but also try to be the ones that really knows what's going on within the food industry, knows how to deal with that, try to convert the demands from retailers and our customers into new packaging designs. And of course, delivering these solutions for the greater benefits of our world. We have a key focus talking about sustainability. We have a key focus on the UN development goals, especially number 12, to deliver 100% recyclable products with zero CO2 emission. And why is this relevant to CPQ? Well, if we look at one of the targets, specifically target 12.5, we really have a strategy where we try to think circular in everything we do. So that is when we design new products, when we use the different materials, we really focus on monomaterials, work with design for recyclability. We use recycled materials to really progress in that direction. And that has a big impact when we look at CPQ, which I will come back to. We deliver products in two materials. That's a bit important to understand. So one is aluminium. So that could be products like this, of course, be product like these. So that is one material that we develop products in together with customers, but we also have our own ranges. And then, of course, also in plastic, where we have a more key focus on using recycled plastic instead of virgin plastic. We create more than 150 new products each year, which drives a lot of push through our relatively small organization. So being able to handle more than 200 customer requests, convert them into more than 100 different kind of projects ranging in all sizes of complexity, and then eventually bringing more than 150 new products to the market each year demands a lot. And here we're definitely tapping into some of the complexity issues that Thomas was also mentioning about silos and being able to work efficiently across different departments, always with a key focus on the customer at the end. But this is really a key driver of our organization. So being able to actively go out, seek new partnerships with customers, seek new opportunities in the market, and then convert them into new solutions. We are quite good at it. So this is just a slide to brag a little bit, but we are quite good at being the innovative player in the field, not only in Europe, but actually globally. So size is not all. We can actually matter to outcompete some of our competitors by actually having these capabilities really good at our hands. So that was really quick introduction to the company that I represent and some of the complexities that we see and why we were so interested in onboarding this journey within CPQ. So let's jump a little bit closer to actually look into what have we done so far. So what I will share is I will share a little bit about where we started, some of the strategic issues that we have discussed, and then move into what is actually the concrete solutions that we have built up so far, and what have been the benefits that we have seen within the last 12 months, and what does the outlook look into the near future. And it's all about, for us, really all about how to utilize CPQ to increase sales productivity. And we are not, I would say we are not maybe a traditional company working with CPQ, so it's been quite an interesting journey for us to see how can we apply this kind of technology normally used in other industries within packaging. Because as far as I'm aware, and the research that we have done, we are one of the only packaging companies working with CPQ in the way that we have tried to use it. So hopefully also a little bit of inspiration to you representing companies in other industries, not normally working with CPQ. So, well, it all started in 2018. I ran a strategy process at that time together with the board of directors and the rest of the group management team, where we had multiple strategic challenges, but some of them that we needed to address was, for instance, we saw a lot of complexity driving this kind of business model that we have, continually trying to innovate, develop new products. So how could we reduce complexity and cost? Trying to see, okay, can we actually utilize the science for future sales? We were also discussing, how can we increase the efficiency when we handle these customer requests? How can we be better at collaborating across departments? We saw a need there to enable not only ourselves actually, but also the customers understanding the financial implications of the design choices. Again, a way to try to drive up profitability of our products by making it more transparent to see, okay, it actually comes with a cost depending on what kind of material you choose and what kind of design you go for. All in all, to really focus on see that we saw a need there when we customized solutions compared to a standard solution. We had a lower earning, a low margin on these areas, and we were curious to understand why is that happening and how can we turn that around. And eventually, but not least, we also saw definitely a need to actually strengthen the customer's customization experience. So tapping into this digital field in order to exploit the tools to build up some kind of new capabilities, new way of showing our products in a different way. So that was some of the strategic challenges that we had and some of the key decisions or discussions points that we had at that time back in 2018. So moving ahead, what we tried to do, we had a process perspective here. So we tried to look into, okay, so when we look at our sales management processes, and this is a very generic slide, so you have everything from pipeline performance management and all the way until agreement fulfillment, renewal management. We definitely saw that within the quote management area, we had some issues. We saw very high FTE allocation. Again, back to this huge need for coordination among departments. So salesmen are doing something, internal sales doing something else. We have a project department supporting sales doing something else. We have a technical department, production, purchase, planning, all that stuff. So a lot of resources spent into driving these requests through from the initial question from the customer all the way until we had a final quote that we could actually present. We also saw that we had a really quite low process maturity, meaning that the processes there were not standardized. It was not documented officially. We were very much relying on people's experience and knowledge, so not being that explicit, which sometimes drove a lot of complexity because there were misunderstandings and people are not collaborating as efficiently as they could. And then lastly but not least, we definitely also saw that we really had some very limited digital tools to support these processes here. And we had a very old system handling these customers' requests, and then everything else was supported by emails going back and forth. So based on that, we concluded that there's really a need here to try to focus on that. So you can say that a shared vision or strategy at that time, back in 2018, where we wanted to develop, and we call it a customization tool, because at that time we didn't know that much about CPQ. But we definitely saw a need that we need some kind of tool here to help us automate and digitize the processes there. And we wanted to deliver impact on 4 concrete areas. And the first one was definitely try to see, okay, for us to really stand out in the market, very high competitive market, very cost focused. We are already doing a lot and trying to improve the customer's experience, but how can we actually utilize this tool to improve it even further? Then secondly, it was definitely something about, okay, we need to improve the quality and the lead time and the specification and the quotation processes. That was definitely a big important area for us, also impacting the customer's experience by actually having a quote delivered within a reasonable amount of time and not us coming too late. Then thirdly, we needed to really look in, okay, how can we reduce resource consumption making these kind of quotes back to the high FT allocation. And the aim was not to cut costs, but really to free up capacity in the organization to support on customer projects instead of running around sometimes in circles trying to just to support on quotes. So that was really the goal there. And then fourthly, but not least, we also saw a need. Okay, we also need to try to look into how can we optimize the products and the services while we do quotes for customers, so standardizing, even though it's not the sexiest words, especially when you have a customization strategy. But that was really also the need to try to work in that direction, again, to see if we could increase profitability of our solutions. So that was the outcome. Some of the outcomes of the strategy process that we did in 2018 with a very key focus on customization as one of the priorities back then. Then what happened then? Well, first of all, this was in the boardroom and in the management team. So what we need to try to create some kind of compelling change story for the rest of the organization to follow. Because for me and for our CEO and our board of directors and everybody else, this sounded like the right way to attack it. But for the rest of the organization, not only in sales but also in people working in the shop floor, we needed to create some kind of joint vision, some kind of joint story around it. And here we used, I would say, more, but we actually used 2 narratives. So the first one was, we call it David's truck. And I don't know if you know this, but it's a I would say commercials on that from Scania. Scania, I think actually they're a customer from Tacton, but that was not why we choose it. But Scania is having a great they have a great configurator if you want to configure your own truck, and they had this very nice commercial about this configurator called David's Truck. And it's all about, you have this guy called David, and you see him where he's trying to configure his own truck, and he ends up standing there with his arms, and he's like king of the trucks there. So we show this video and a lot of different town hall meetings, etc. We had tried to build up this story and also try to bridge the gap by, well, configuration is not something new, and a lot of other industries and companies are working with customization and try to deliver exactly what the customers want, and we are doing the same, so why not using the benefits of tools that they're having in other areas? The second narrative, the second story was about a Nike shoe, and this is related to a competition we did actually. We had a New Year's reception from 2018 to beginning of 2019, where we initiated the new strategy plan. So we had a big kickoff there for all the employees in the company. And here, of course, customization and this customization tools was one of the key topics. And here we did a competition. So we had a lot of Q&A and a lot of quizzes afterwards. And then the prize was that some selected employees could go in and customize their own Nike shoes using Nike's shoe configurator. And that also drove a lot of interest and a lot of thoughts and ideas around that. So that was also one way of trying to build up these change stories. So we actually managed to create quite some good momentum. Then we started to develop the first prototype in March 19 until June. So we had a stretch target saying that, okay, before we invest too many resources within it, we needed to have some kind of proof of concept. We needed to build a prototype with very limited investment amount. So I pulled down a team on some specialists, also bringing in CPC as an external partner in that. And the aim was to prove that we can actually use configuration in our business to drive value. So these are actual the images of the first mock-up we did, and then we built up the whole configuration model with it for one product area in a big Excel sheet, just to prove that we could actually take all the calculations, all the modeling, and put it into a formula. Because how we use configuration in our industry is that when you need to develop a new tray, you really need to be very good at calculating the fall consumption, because that drives a lot of cost. You also need to be really good at calculating the takt time on the machines, on the presses, the manning capacity, the tool cavities, so the tool used to actually produce the tray, all these kind of variables. So here CPQ is really benefiting a lot. So that was what the proof of concept project was really all about. So within 4 months, we made it. We also did some field tests with customers with good results. That convinced us in June that CPQ is definitely the way forward. It could contribute a lot, could actually fulfill this vision we have with building our customization tool. And then we actually started building the first release in August 2019. And outcome in 9 months after is this. So last year we went live with our first version of our CPQ solution, built up in Tacton. We have made three configurators: one for our aluminium trays, one for our plastic trays, and the third one for our lids, because it's 3 different kind of configuration models behind. We also have all our catalog items within, again, because we need to support both selling complex, customized solutions, but also standard items. We have quite what I would say a good pricing module. So we spend a lot of time working with the pricing, both pricing structures, approval processes. We also have what we call a freight calculator, meaning that sales managers can actually go in and calculate a quite accurate estimate of the cost of shipping that amount of products to that specific customer located within that area in a given country. And all that is used to really improve the earnings and the profitability of our products by being good at setting the right price. Then last but not least, we have a unified quote sheet. We didn't have that before. We had almost as many different ways of building up a quote as we have salespeople. So now we have one way of doing it, and it's all united there. And also we automatically now can generate technical data sheets even on products that we have never produced before, which normally it was a very manual process involving a lot of people. So that is also generated automatically. So this was all within the first release. So quite a big jump we did there back in May. So what have been some of the outcome of it so far? So 1 year after go live, and this is almost 1 year after we went live, the 20th May last year. What are the benefits that we see? Well, The first really big benefits that we have seen in the last 12 months has been a big reduction on this FTE utilization. More than 25% we have been able to cut off. And as said in the beginning, the aim was never to reduce cost directly. It was more to free up capacity to use that time to deliver better services to our customers. But in the whole situation with COVID-19, we also had some issues last year, and by actually having this tool, it gave us the opportunity to reorganize the organization in a way that we never could before. So in that sense, we were quite thankful for the timing that we went live just before the pandemic really hit. Also, we have received a big decrease in time spending rating specification and quotes. So average for customized solutions. So when a customer contacted us the first time, asking for a whole new tray, which we never produced before, and until we were able to give them an exact price for that specific tray, including all the services, etc. around it, it could go up to 3 weeks, sometimes even more. Now it's way below 1 week. Actually, if a sales manager is good at using the system, it can take him 10, 15 minutes to configure a whole new tray, prepare the quote, and ship it off to the customer. So that's really a game changer for us to be that fast and have that kind of agility. We also really see an improved pricing. So we've implemented a lot of stuff in the pricing module, which is all about reducing the risk of setting the pricing correctly, and also limiting the risk of errors in quotes. That's also a big upside that we can already see now. And then, as I said, we really improved the agility of handling customer requests. So sometimes a customer could loop a request several times. Now we can easily go in and adjust the configuration almost as they speak with the customer. This is really good right now because we see more and more requests on customers that would like to convert from you can say old materials into new, more recyclable materials. So that's also really gives us an upside there to have that speed, to be that proactive in the market. Now the sustainability is really having that kind of impact. And then we can also see that we have increased the standardization of raw materials. So we have already now made changes where we can see we are better at utilizing existing foils instead of searching or sourcing for specific raw materials that we've done before. So that's also an upside for us. So these are some of the key impact areas where we've seen benefits within the last 12 months. One area where we might not have seen that much, and that was actually the whole customer's customization experience. And maybe double click a little bit on that is that we had a key target to say that we built a tool and we wanted our salespeople to use that in the engagement with the customers, and that has been more difficult than I expected, and also that our sales management team expected. And we are still trying to understand why is that. We spend a lot of time training, building on competences, skills in the organization, but it still seems like there's a, I don't know, lack of confidence. Maybe that's one of the assumptions that I have in a sales organization, to actually go out and use this tool when they're sitting together with customers to use that to support the sales conversations that they have. So this is an area where we still need to work on. So last two slides, where are we now? So actually this the first quarter of this year, we just completed the first release of Salesforce as our new CRM system, and we did that in close integration with Taxon. So now we actually managed to cover almost all the key sales management processes, where we utilize Salesforce for most of them, and then we have a one-to-one integration with Taxon, which is working really well, and I'm expecting a lot of that. And then, well, in the near future, we are already now looking into how can we improve the customer's experience by using visualization. So this is actually a very early prototype of us testing the functions within 3D visualizations instead of right now we're using just the standard images. And we're also looking into self-service to see could that also be a path that we should try to move into to be able to bring even more value out to our customers. I think that was my last slide, so I will end it there. Thank you so much for getting the opportunity again to share some of our experiences.